you guys may be familiar with how this works, but today we have 15 teams presenting, and I just want to thank our judges and sponsors for making this possible today. And so basically the format of this is that each team will have 2 minutes to pitch, followed by a 2-minute Q&A. And then at the end, we'll decide on the winners. Any questions before we get started? No? Okay, perfect. So first up, we have WeTrade.
I figure we bring most of the team out for y'all today. Ready to go?
Yeah, go for it.
Hi guys, I'm John from
WeTrade!
and we want to train you. Let me talk to you for a second about the personal training market, because it's large and inefficient, kind of like taxis once were. Every day, there's over 700,000 training sessions being conducted across the United States. And they're all being conducted at an average price point of $60 per session. You add that up, along with competing products like group fitness and gym memberships, and that's a $37 billion market opportunity that we're addressing. Because at WeTrain, we're building the Uber of personal training, with sessions starting at only $17. And we've gained a lot of traction to date. We've conducted or pre-sold over 250 sessions, recruited over 60 trainers to our pipeline, and they love us because we simply pay more. Both an upfront cash and a really cool sweat equity program that allows trainers to participate in the equity upside of the company. We recently closed our first round of the Friends and Family, and which is headlined by the Haas family. I probably should have gone to that slide next. Let me show you how simple and easy it is to use. You can download our app in the iTunes Store today. All you have to do is create a quick profile, tell us 30 or 60-minute workout, what you want to focus on, where you are, and voila. Hit the button, and we'll search our system for an available trainer nearby. And the best part about it is our trainers come to you anywhere, anytime, to give you the best workout of your life. Because they're professional motivators. So, Michael, if you're like me, have you ever had one of those days where you've tied up your shoes, you're ready to go work out, but for whatever reason maybe your favorite TV show comes on and you don't work out?
I'm always motivated.
Well, imagine hitting a button on our app called Motivate Me, where you'd be conducted to a 6 to 10 second Snapchat video with one of our trainers, and their job is to get you moving. Kind of like,
"Whoa, let's go, Michael, it's me and you! You just gotta push the button! Here I am, come on, let's go! Push the button, I'll be there in 5 minutes!"
we'll get you moving in no time, because that's what we do. And our trainers love us. Because simply put, we pay more. Both an upfront cash, 30% more than what the gym pays, as well as the sweat equity program, which I outlined earlier. And we're getting a lot of traction. These are just some of the affiliate partners that we've formed, as well as some of the prizes that we've won. What's not up there is one that we're working on, and actually had a call today, Uber. We'll be doing a joint rollout with them first week of March, as well as the Special Olympics. So with that, we'd love to open up for any questions you guys might have.
How do you handle kind of referrals, given that, you know, a lot of people are referred by a friend to a trainer and they want to know that that person has a relationship with somebody, and then how about equipment issues?
Yeah, so I'll tackle the second question first. If you can make a snowman, they can work you out. Literally. Without much room. So I used to be 60 pounds heavier, lost all the weight for those types of body weight circuits. With referrals, I'm not sure, could you clarify your question?
Well, I know the way that a lot of people get trainers is because their friend uses the trainer and likes that trainer.
So,
how do you combat that?
Yeah, so we're running paid customer acquisition experiments. We have a strong word of mouth pipeline just from the WeTrain brand. And we've had a lot of PR come out. So for instance, Friday, the Philadelphia Inquirer ran an article on us, and our phones have been ringing off the hook ever since. And so we're continuing to forge those relationships, and we're picking one's going to be with Uber the first week of March.
So you said your trainers, are the trainers employed by WeTrain, or are you more of a scheduling app, or are these actual, WeTrain is actually providing the service?
So they're 1099 contractors, but at the same token, what we do that's really, that's not in there, great. What we do that's really unique is our sweat equity program. So we've carved off 5% of our company, 5% will never change. Trainers can earn points into that system. So for a 5-star rated session, 4-star rated session, client or trainer referrals. On a sale or exit event, that bucket tips as a cash payment, and so basically trainers participate in the upside of the company, and we're creating, like, we feel passionate about what we do. So yes, they're independent contractors, but at the end of the day, they are quasi-owners of the company, so.
As part of your plan, would you want to have a relationship with any gyms, or would you be outside of established?
Yeah, so we'll have relationships with gyms. We've had a couple reach out. One out in South Philly actually today. They want us to be their outsourced personal training services. We want to offer it. We're talking with the guys who invested in all the Planet Fitnesses in Philadelphia. We grew up in Minnesota now. And we have 2 other partnerships that we forged with on-purpose training gyms, where we can bring anyone in there for $5 per session. And we just pass that through to the client.
Sorry, time's up, but awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, good evening. I'm Josh Pfeiffer, the co-founder of Barnow. We provide drones and software that help ranchers be more profitable and environmentally sustainable. So I grew up on a ranch in Wyoming with a problem you guys have probably never thought about. Imagine monitoring dozens, if not hundreds of square miles. You need to drive around it almost on a daily basis, checking man-made infrastructure such as fence, water tanks, windmills, monitoring your livestock, and also monitoring the land for health and long-term profitability. We can solve that problem with pretty basic fixed-wing UAVs, a couple different sensors and software tailored to ranchers' needs. We can solve all of their monitoring problems, but most importantly, we can help them plan the long-term use of land for long-term health and environmental sustainability. So how big is the market? Look at the orange area on the map. Previously overlooked by other agricultural drone companies, it's approximately 40% of the U.S. Calculate about 15,000 ranches. Our total addressable market in the short term is about $100 to $200 million. As we improve our capabilities, we expect it to be about $200 to $400 million per year. But on top of that, the long-term sustainability of land is somewhere between $1 to $5 million a year that we're creating in value. So to keep it simple, we sell the hardware for about $9,000 a year, the software as a service for $1,000 a year, so it's $10,000 per customer per year on a continuous basis. Why continuous? Because they're going to be flying these things a lot. We expect somewhere between 150 to 200 flight hours per year, so they're going to need the maintenance and the replacement. We got the team to do it. I grew up on a ranch. I was a test pilot in the Air Force. My co-founder, Will Peters, is an aerospace engineer and also a drone expert. We're going for ranch drone domination. We're pretty excited about it. So, if anybody in the room is excited, please contact me. $1,500 will actually allow us to buy a fixed-wing UAV and start doing some testing. Thank you.
I want to make sure I understand correctly. So you are using existing drones and layering a software layer to collect data? Like what exactly are you providing to your customers?
So our primary value is in the software. So we're hardware integrators. So we're going to take the sensors, the platform, and the flight controllers, put them together. But then we're providing the software layer to completely automate the process and then give them the analysis for the long-term health of the land.
You're gonna, what do you spit out? Do you spit out like the images so they can look at them? Or are you using computer vision on top of it to make sense of what?
Yeah, so it all depends on exactly what the ranchers want. For basically, it's just a visual inspection of infrastructure. For the livestock, it's an infrared sensor to find them and then actually take their temperature to see if they're sick. And then for the land and health analysis, that's a comparison of visual and infrared, so you can see where the good tough grass is at and the bad grass is at, and help plan for the long term.
I'm sorry if this one's on your slides. How many ranches are there? What's your total potential market?
So we're targeting medium to large size ranches. We calculate about 15,000 in the U.S. alone. If you include farms, significantly more than that, but we're just right now focused on the ranch.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Final selection is up next.
You've probably seen pictures of the enormous island-like mass of plastics floating in our oceans? Well, this problem is actually even more serious than it looks. There's now mounting evidence showing that there's plastic pollution in nearly all of the planet's water. I can get rid of that plastic. Better yet, I can transform it into something that's actually useful. My team is currently bioengineering bacteria that can break down styrene, which is a toxic chemical used to make plastics ranging from the lid of your disposable coffee cups to your Amazon packaging. And our bacteria is able to do this 80 times faster than the hungriest organisms found in the wild. And after breaking down plastic waste, we're able to capture the energy generated to produce safe and effective food for farm fish. We've actually demonstrated the feasibility of our protein products this past summer, and we were able to show through controlled salmon feed trials a 73% mortality rate reduction in farm salmon. I'm talking about cleaning up all of the world's oceans and creating a new food source for fish farms. My name is Miranda, and my company is BioSelection. We're a growing team of scientists and engineers who are excited to apply this biotechnology to really not only make a social impact, but also generate a sustainable profit. We raised our seed fund earlier last year in May, and we're currently working toward our Series A. We're ready to launch our bacterial product this May, and we've already obtained our first provisional patent. In addition to setting up our supply chain, we've already received 7 letters of intent from fish feed manufacturer customers in China, and 2 of which are already able to enter product testing with us later this year. So my team is working on the startup full-time after graduation, and we're a group of college kids and PhDs who really want to make an impact, and we hope you'll support us in our mission to solve the plastic pollution problem. Thank you.
So do you mind talking a little bit more about what the LOIs entail and what they've agreed to?
Right, so they've agreed to you letting us into their facilities. So just to kind of give you some context, one of these two companies are willing to enter product testing with us, is a public company on the Shanghai Stock Exchange. And they have their own vertically integrated supply chain for making fish feed all the way to their own aquaculture facility. I actually attended an aquaculture expo in China to meet and talk with them. And they've agreed on the terms of letting us use their fish feed facilities and basically do testing with their live fish. And they're willing to exchange data with us for the early stage trials.
So your revenue will be generated by replacing the food at the fish farm.
So the revenue generation comes from not only the bioremediation step, so we actually have a plastic supplier called Parlay for the Oceans, and they collect plastics around the world on beaches, and they make a new kind of fabric for clothing with it. The new Adidas shoes actually was launched using from this company. So their problem is they have a lot of styrofoam that they can't get rid of, and our bacteria can break down styrofoam. Styrene is the chemical that makes styrofoam, but not only styrofoam, polystyrene as well. So what we're doing right now is these guys give us the plastics, and they really want to get rid of them, so we're actually potentially able to generate revenue from that. Right now we're just getting it completely for free, but the other revenue generating component is selling the actual product from biomass.
And I'm sorry, you have that.
So right now, fish meal is the product we're replacing using biomass. The average price of fish meal on the global market in 2015 was $2.20 per kilogram, and that price has been increasing by 15% every year for the past 15 years because of global wild fish stock shortage. The total market is $8.5 billion market.
Anybody else in this space now?
Time's up, but yeah, thank you so much.
So behind me what you'll see is 2 academic profiles. One is me, and the other is my best friend from high school, Juan. You'll notice that despite very similar academic backgrounds, I ended up going to Harvard, and he actually ended up going to community college. Unfortunately, this problem is far more common than you'd think. More than 1 million of the 3 million high school graduates each year will end up undermatching. By undermatching, they end up either not going to the best college for them, or more likely, they don't go to college at all. So how can this problem be so systemic? The answer is actually quite simple. The college admissions process doesn't serve everyone equally. Quite frankly, the playing field is actually far from level. At the same time, colleges are spending more than $5 billion a year recruiting students. That comes to about $1,300 per enrollee. With pressure to form a more diverse student body, colleges are actually struggling to find these underrepresented applicants. That's where we come in. We're Breadcrumb. We provide free, online college admissions guidance on a one-to-one basis. We're able to do this by using technology to automate away routine friction, like claiming fee waivers and looking at past essays. At the same time, we provide volunteers who provide customized essay feedback and guidance. By using algorithmic matching, we're able to match high schoolers with undergraduates and young professionals based on shared attributes like religion, ethnicity, geography, or even sports. As a result, we can provide an on-demand virtual volunteer opportunity that allows undergraduates and young professionals to help their community, even if they're not in their community. We provide a user-friendly dashboard with critical admissions resources and the ability to claim waivers and apply to college with just one click. Cloud collaboration allows our volunteers to work on essays remotely and provide the feedback directly. In doing so, we create academic opportunity for the most underserved students. We know colleges need these students in their applicant pool, and we work with them to focus on their recruiting spend. We are able to actually provide a more efficient and less expensive recruiting spend to colleges across the country. We've built a team focused on admissions, analytics, technology, and education. We're seeking funding so we can make college more accessible to more students faster. We hope you'll join us and volunteer at breadcrumb.org.
Successfully recruit volunteers.
So that's the easy part. We're at 250 volunteers as it is. And what we've actually found is people are enthusiastically trying. They've been solving this problem on their own, and they enthusiastically want to be matched with more people. So not surprisingly, we test very well with affinity groups. So anyone who feels currently underrepresented in the student body recognizes this as a problem that they want to help solve.
How do you build out the user base for something like this, given how many solutions there are on the market for
Yeah, so
students?
the interesting thing, there's a lot of solutions, very few of them are free, and very few of them are focused on the most underrepresented or underserved students. So we're targeting a customer base that is frequently poor, frequently unaware of college as a possibility, and we're partnering with organizations like Teach for America and City Year that are already in these at-risk schools to make their students aware and to promote our role models, our volunteers, as people who want to help them and who came from similar backgrounds.
So, just want to clarify, is this a nonprofit or a for-profit?
So we are a for-profit social impact group. We actually think that we can generate a sustainable business by going B2B and working with colleges. So the typical college might spend between $10,000 and $50,000 on 10 to about 15 subscriptions. So one of our founders came from an admissions office. And so there's 10 to 15 providers, and it's unclear what kind of leads they get. We actually think we can provide some very, very good leads for the students they most want to attract.
How many colleges and universities have you sponsored?
So we're actually working on piloting over the summer with a bunch of the Philadelphia schools. So Penn is not exactly our best example because many people have heard of Penn, but the Villanovas, the Drexels, the Lehighs of the world in many cases, want a more diverse student body, and we're able to provide them outside of the Pennsylvania and New York pipeline.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next up, we have
All right. Good evening. What do bottle openers, glasses, jewelry, snowboard bindings have in common? They can all be created with consumer 3D printers. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3D printing industry is $2.5 billion and it reached there in 6 years. For perspective, that's about the size of the PlayStation 4 sales rep. Now, PS4s are pretty popular. So why is that only a small portion of consumers have tried 3D printing? We've asked that question to 300 people in the last 2 months, and we found that 90% of responses fell into 2 buckets. First, there is a lack of compelling designs available, and consumers simply do not find 3D printed objects to be useful. Second, 3D printing is fairly technical, as you can see, and that presents a barrier to mainstream consumers. Cubics addresses both of these issues with a 2-part solution. The first of which is a small
plugs into any 3D printer. You can think of it as a Chromecast for 3D printing. This module essentially allows you to print with a touch of a button by connecting you to the second part of the solution, which is the Cubics Cloud platform. On this platform, we partner with top designers and brands in creating relevant, high-quality designs in spaces like fashion, sports, and tech fields. Once you've selected to use your design, you can customize right on the platform the quality of prints, the types of prints, any additional customization you do want. Then just simply hit print and stream it to your 3D printer. Even if you don't own a 3D printer, you can also have this printed and shipped to your home. The best part about Cubics, it is super inexpensive to print. We've estimated that even after revenue shares for Cubics, consumers can save up to 80% from buying similar products off Amazon, the likes of eBay, the likes of that world. So, we're super excited about this technology. This industry is going to grow tenfold in the next 4 years, and we're excited to be a catalyst for this growth. With that, I'll open up the floor for questions.
So is this a land grab, or is there something else behind the scenes that's behind this?
So it's a little bit of both. It's a great question. This is something that there are not a bunch of players in the field right now. There are a couple of competitors, but they're engineering focused. So they're great for students, they're great for technical items, they're not consumer focused at all. I think that by getting those designers on board quickly, you can really get some of those best designs and get that network effect and that lock-in early on is what we're aiming to do.
So this is like the pie in the sky that everyone wants to achieve, having a 3D printer in your home and instead of buying forks to print them, right? There are a lot of companies thinking about 3D printing, and I think if you look at their pitch deck, that would be the end dream. This is our strategy eventually to be that better. And there are databases like Thingiverse where there are designs ready to go. Why do you think that you versus companies that have they own the hardware or they own a database or something, why do you guys think they're like?
So great question, and you bring up a lot of great points there. There are a number of online marketplaces. The big piece here is if you've ever used Thingiverse, it's awful. It is just not well organized, the prints are all over the place, some will print, some won't. And that's part of the reason why a lot of folks consider 3D printing to be cheap and ineffective. So what we really want to do is not to be one of the hardware manufacturers or to be one of these marketplaces, but a service that kind of connects the two. So we want to have those great designers that we're incentivizing and also consumers and their needs, and we want to match those two together. One extra piece I would say are there are something like 300 funded and overfunded print companies currently on Kickstarter and the like. So the units that are about to be sold are basically already there. They're coming down the pipeline. It's not really a matter of if this happens, it's just a matter of when these units are delivered. So that is something that we really do want to get in front of. We think there's great potential.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have fashion.
By the time I finished this pitch, 300 women in India would have shopped online, a number increasing by 20% per annum. These women on average spend $120 shopping online for fashion products. Let's take a moment now to think about the demand-supply mismatch of mid to high fashion products in India. While each of these items costs in excess of $200, these women, and I reiterate, only spend $120. Adding to that, research suggests that 40% of the Indian woman's wardrobe inventory lies unused, and yet the timeless fashion dilemma still exists today. We have our closets overflowing with clothes and yet nothing to wear. Still, our wallets don't follow our desires always. Hi, I'm Sakhi Gandhi, co-founder of Fashion Flash, and I'm here to solve the problem of the skewed consumption of luxury fashion in India. Fashion Flash is a peer-to-peer designer-French fashion rental platform aimed at the fashion-forward and practical woman of the 21st century who wishes to sustainably consume luxury fashion. We're hoping to create a shared ecosystem for fashion products where lenders, ranging from fashion designers to individual products like us, simply upload their pictures and sit back and relax as their product gets rented out and their wallet size increases. Renters, on the other hand, have an access to a range of luxury fashion at extremely affordable cost. Fashion Flash, on the other hand, handles all logistics and ensures quality
by robust checks done by our expert team, and by partnering with international dry cleaners. Our exclusive network of fashion designers and bloggers in India provides us a competitive advantage, making it easier to acquire customers and adding credibility. We've already onboarded 50 lenders who are willing to supply their verified fashion products from their own wardrobes. So come experience Fashion Flash. Dream big and spend less. Thank you.
Are you headquartering this company in the United States or headquartered in India?
So I might have been fair advantage, we're investors in Red, which is like the American competitor. So, just a quick question. So, are people like, I'm going to be a user, and I have Closet, and I'm going to send my stuff out when someone wants it, kind of thing? Okay.
Yeah, so it's a peer-to-peer based lending system. Now the peers can be, as you said, individual customers like us who have excess inventory in their wardrobe, or even designers who have excess stock in their inventory. So what happens is, if you have extra clothes lying in your wardrobe and you want to lend it out to and turn over the wardrobe and get money out of it, you lend these clothes onto our platform, just upload a simple photo. Our in-house designers will examine the photo and verify the quality of the brand, and then it's rented out to the customer when they demand.
How do you choose a rental model versus a sale model? A real, what do you do?
So, basically there's a huge demand-supply gap for branded fashion in India. Now, the branded fashion industry, the apparel industry, e-commerce apparel industry is supposed to be $30 billion by 2020, out of which $5 billion is branded fashion and $25 billion is unbranded fashion. Now, $25 billion of those sales come from women who desire branded fashion but they're not able to afford it. Now, the way to afford this is by turning out their inventory in the wardrobe much faster, and B, being able to afford a luxury branded fashion through rentals. Purchase is not a mechanism.
So do you have an idea of the per transaction cost now? In terms of, one concern I would have is that just the logistics and the insurance and the cleaning costs could outweigh your margin by given rental.
Sure. So, firstly, we get 50% of the rental, and the inventory risk is not borne by us. So, it's all the inventory of the peers, that's consumers or fashion designers of excess inventory. Out of this 50%, we estimate break-even in the second year based on an average of 20 orders per day in the first year, and then growing 100% month on month in the second year. Out of this 50% of rentals which we receive, about 33% is for logistics and inventory management, which basically means storing this inventory of the peers or suppliers at our place, and then turning it over and sending it to the renters when they demand. So we have a 17% EBITDA margin, which we foresee, especially with economies of scale kicking in from the second year, we should be breaking even.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And, next we have Genius.
Colorectal cancer is the second deadliest cancer in the United States. The reason? Despite the fact that over 100 million Americans should undergo regular colon cancer screening, compliance rates are below 60%. This results in a system where 130,000 patients are diagnosed and 50,000 patients die from the disease. The reason is that existing screening methodologies do not meet patient needs. Colonoscopy, along with the gold standard in diagnosing CRC, are extremely invasive, time-consuming, and expensive. And non-invasive options, such as blood tests or DNA tests, are unreliable due to low sensitivity rates. Genoscopy has developed a non-invasive test analyzing biomarkers in stool samples. This allows us to combine the accuracy of a colonoscopy with the non-invasive nature of a DNA test. And what this does is allow us to solve the colon cancer screening conundrum by addressing each of the three tenets of healthcare's AAA. To improve the patient experience,
to reduce cost and to improve population health. Our competitive advantage relies on three key pieces of technology. First, a patented method to isolate human signals from bacterial noise in stool. Second, a methodology using Bayesian statistics that allows us to analyze 42,000 transcripts in parallel and create a suite of biomarkers that can diagnose the disease with a 99% accuracy. And finally, an iterative detection algorithm using a machine learning approach. In February 2016, Genoscopy successfully completed its technical validation study. As you can see on the right, in this PCA output, and the clustering of the red dots below the line and the green dots above the line, we were successfully able to identify 8 out of 8 CRC samples and 5 out of 6 normal samples. As we continue to expand our data set, our tests will become significantly more accurate. Our mission is to eliminate colon cancer's reputation as the most preventable but least preventing cancer. And we hope, especially if you never want to have a colonoscopy, that you'll support us in this endeavor.
Can you talk about the team and the background of this, and then do you see it initially replacing it or supplementing it?
Absolutely. So I'm on the business side. We have 2 MD PhD candidates at the Washington University School of Medicine, and then 1 PhD candidate there as well. And what the goal is this would replace the preventive colonoscopy. So 70% of the time someone has a colonoscopy, they go in, there's nothing there, but the person had to do the procedure, it's more expensive, you have to go through bowel prep. So what this would do would be the first step and tell you if you have cancerous polyps, you have colon cancer. What this will allow is earlier diagnosis. So the prognosis for people that are diagnosed in late stage, which is right now most people, because people just don't get tested, is less than 10%. If you catch it in early stage, which is what this would allow you to do, it's as high as 90%.
You walk through what the patient has to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually very easy. So the primary care physician will prescribe a test. We'll ship them a collection kit to their house. In the safety of their own home, they'll deposit a stool sample and send it to our lab for analysis. We'll then diagnose it and tell the primary care physician, and we'll give them a customized patient plan. And that could involve nothing. It could involve come back in 2 years. It could involve you need to have a colonoscopy because you have cancer, and that sort of process works.
So you prepare the report for the doctor, or you?
Exactly. We would have our own lab, and we would create a customized patient plan, telling the doctor exactly what that person needs to do, and then they'd be referred to a gastroenterologist, which right now that's sort of the first step. So this allows, as we're sort of moving to primary care physicians taking more care of patients, this allows them to then help lower costs of the system.
Great. Thank you so much.
Ux Energy is a social networking game that motivates users to perform energy-efficient behaviors. My name is Bayo Adejare, and I'm the creator of Ux Energy. So the problem is, how do we get people to increase their energy savings when so much of it is based off behavior? Well, a simple solution, we gamify it. Why gamify? Because evidence has suggested and even proved that we can have increased savings by gamifying or adding game elements to behavioral changes. So this is because our brains are wired to be motivated by rewards, prizes, and challenge. So we're naturally competitive. Our Ux Energy platform adds game elements to energy efficiency behavior. And how do we do this? Well, we do this by rewarding users for performing energy efficient behaviors. We reward them virtually with virtual prizes like points, badges, and we also reward them with tangible prizes like gift cards and so on. In the past, there are several people that have tried such an idea, and basically our advantage is that we have integration to the so-called Internet of Things, So we add on to the to things like Nests or other types of connected devices, and we are able to provide real-time feedback as to the performance of the individual. In addition, we also are customizable. And our market is targeted at independent energy retailers. We could consider utilities, but they would have to be more progressive. In the past, such a scheme has been done with utilities. And the market for energy services companies, which is where we're looking at, is a little over $6 million. It has a potential of 70 to 30 billion and is expected to reach anywhere from 11 to 75 billion by 2020. So this is a market that's growing substantially. And this market of energy services companies that target initially mostly large institutions are going down to smaller companies. We can take away some of that risk of scaling down by using our behavioral-based energy efficiency data.
Sorry to interrupt, I believe that's time.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions?
So I have a question.
Yes.
I'm not phrasing it this way to sound mean, but I just don't know quite how to phrase it. So there's disconnect in my mind.
Yeah.
As an energy company, don't I want people to use more energy so that I make more money? So what's the incentive for
Okay, that's a
them
good question.
to partner with?
Energy utility companies, a lot of them have been mandated by the public utility to have a certain amount of money allotted to energy efficiency services, or they get a large fine. I actually work in an energy efficiency program where we incentivize equipment upgrades. So they want to have that energy efficiency, basically. And some utilities include behavioral programs, some don't. And also, I think, are you asking also about the energy services companies also, or just the utilities?
Yes, so yeah, just why would your customer want to?
For just the utilities, because of mandates, basically. For most utilities, that's the only reason it makes sense.
Where are you in terms of building the game?
Right now, I'm planning the game. I think one of the most important things I found is that game design is really the most important thing about having this to be successful. The ACEEE, American Council for Energy Efficiency and Economy, they did a review of 53 gamified energy efficiency programs, not necessarily games, but including game elements, and they found that they could save 11% more additional savings, but they found that the key factor was the design, basically. So I'm still in the design stages.
How do you sustain the interest of end user, right? So I sign up for the game when it's built, we integrate with lots of my devices, I see where I'm not being efficient and fix that, you get really quick incremental gains, and then it should level up over time, right? I know now how to optimize my energy use after some short period of time. So do you risk losing people after whatever amount of time it takes for them to
After
get
they
the
reach a
efficiency?
certain point?
After 2 or 3 months?
It's a very good question. So we're going to have leaderboards where we reward people. So naturally, people who want to maintain their position. I think research has found that a lot of people are sort of more afraid of losing their rankings, and just by doing that, they can log on continually.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And next we have...
One-third of the U.S. population today is currently over the age of 50. Now, as you begin to approach this age, your body function begins to decline. One problem may add to another, and eventually, you're faced with a compounding set of health concerns. Now, the real culprit here is that oftentimes you don't observe a developing health problem until after it's affected your lifestyle, until after it's too late. People just don't have enough access to personal health diagnostics to be able to see problems before they do. Look, your health is a large part of the story of your life, and it's being written every single day, but we're blind to most of it. Today, we're giving you complete transparency. This is One Health, our home diagnostic device. With just one drop of blood and no trip to the lab, we're empowering consumers to be able to easily and frequently track their health vitals. Now you can see significant changes in your health as they occur, and you can learn and understand your body. Seniors with a predisposition to heart attacks contract their cholesterol. Those with high blood pressure issues contract their sodium levels. And those prone to osteoporosis contract their vitamin D and calcium levels. Today there are several devices that offer to track your heart rate, or your sleep, or your step count. What we're tracking are the meaningful vitals that doctors actually use themselves to determine your overall health. We're helping you understand your health, whether you're just a fitness freak, or someone who's feeling a little sick, or a senior who wants to maintain their overall fitness. We're creating the gateway to personalized health.
You're one drop, but I think you're Theranos. So walk us through that.
So Theranos' problem with their proposition was that they promised too much. They promised a whole 40 vitals from one drop of blood, and that's not possible with today's technology. What we're doing is offering 8 vitals on one disposable chip with our device. So you prick your finger, it's painless, we're using microneedle technology. It takes almost less than a drop of blood, and then we're running it through 8 tests. So cholesterol, glucose, vitamin B12, vitamin D, oxygen, sodium, calcium, and pH. You'll have these 8 tests at the result at your fingertips within a minute of you pricking your finger and inserting the disposable chip into the device. And then we're also going to be obviously creating new chips as new technology arises to test different vitals.
How do you know it's accurate, and then how does it interface with your phone or software?
Right. So we know the accuracy part because we'll be comparing the results from this test with actual blood test results. So these are through clinical trials. And so right now, what we're testing in the undergraduate lab here is that we use a known concentration of, say, glucose, and we use that to test our device and see if they match up, the experimental value and the actual value. And so the way this is interfaced is that once you use the disposable chip and plug it into the device, it'll tell you your output of each of the various vitals, and you can send this information to a participating MD, or you can see for yourself, what you can do to improve your health. Right. So the consumer would pay for the device. It costs us about $164 to make the device, and that's just the prototype. Obviously, scale will decrease that. So we're planning to charge consumers $200 for the device. And then each chip costs about $14 for us to make right now, but we plan to get the disposable chip cost down to $9 with scale.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And next up we have
Alright, my name is Olivia Fingerhood, and I'm going to talk to you guys about Local Aventura. So Local Aventura basically is an online marketplace platform for connecting local guides, local vetted, passionate guides from Latin America with travelers. And what we do is we created this to solve 3 separate problems that we saw as travelers and to people we had talked to, and specifically with Latin America. One of which is that you want to find credible, authentic guides. Second of which is that you want to be able to book in advance. And third is you want the ability to pay online. You don't want to have to deal with changing your money, carrying a lot of cash, whatever it is. So Local Aventura solves all 3 of these problems with what we said, a local, kind of similar to Airbnb, an online marketplace platform. But our impact is actually twofold, because we also seek to empower the local guides that we recruit to our site. And that's by having these passionate guides that maybe can't reach their customers right now. We do the marketing for them, and they get customers through our site. So there's our solution. These are our problems. So what we have done right now is we've conducted a lot of beta testing. We actually have teams on the ground in Chile and Argentina. We have recruited guides in Chile, Argentina, Peru, and we're currently working in Colombia, Brazil, and Uruguay. And currently we're bootstrapped, and we're looking for funding in order to scale. And we actually are going to launch our official online platform by February 17th. So I hope I've explained a little bit about it, and feel free to take any of your questions.
So how are you finding the guides are interacting with, just, are interested in the software and the app?
Yeah, so right now what we're doing is we're finding guides, and what we do is we go through a multi-step process to vet them. So we talk to them, we do a Skype interview, we actually have one of our team members go on a tour with them, and then after that, and after we decide there's someone we want on our platform, we go through a detailed actual background check.
Do they have to interact with the platform at all? I mean, how do they?
No, so what we do is we connect the customer, and then once a customer decides to book the tour through our product, then we connect with the guide, and we put them in touch.
What is that market, sort of guides market, for Latin America? Get a sense of how big that is.
How many guides?
Or what they're charging, what the total revenue opportunity is for guides.
Yeah, so we have, here's our marketplace, and then also it's really interesting, we actually have, there are many people or companies that do this, but they're actually in other areas. We're kind of the first to move in Latin America. Right now, the average is, and this really varies because some people offer like large bus tours, and that's not what we're interested in, and that's not what we're offering. But it's around $100 is kind of the average.
And also, do you have an idea of the total addressable market that you're able to go after?
So our target demographic is millennials. So really this is kind of the market information that we've so far gathered.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next up we have On.
Hello, my name is Casey Bridgeford, and I'm here to tell you about the OnCast app. But before I tell you about the OnCast app, let me tell you about my friend Dow. Dow's not happy because Dow invested his time in getting one of the best educations on the continent at a top-tier university in South Africa. And after graduating, he joined the 51% of young black men in South Africa who are unemployed. Unemployment is a huge problem, and youth unemployment is a huge problem on the continent of Africa. The average age of a person on the continent of Africa is 19 years old, and they're graduating from colleges and universities and they're not being able to find work. What most young people do when they're not able to find work in a place like in many of the countries in Africa is they decide to start their own business. One of the problems with starting your own business without having a roadmap is there is a high failure rate. One of the largest banks in Africa, Access Bank, their chairperson just recently gave a speech to a group of young African MBAs saying that 80% of the businesses that she invests in end up failing. What are the reasons why these businesses fail? Businesses usually fail because of the lack of the skill and the knowledge of the entrepreneur starting the business. So we decided to do something about that. We have developed a solution that helps entrepreneurs learn, connect, and grow. They will learn the skills that they need to know to start a business, to grow a business, and actually to scale a business. They will be able to connect to critical business content, other entrepreneurs, and we've even built in a one-button or one-touch button connection to investors through our mobile application. We hope that they will be able to grow their businesses and hire locally. Right now, we're still in the development phases of our app and hope to launch it this spring of 2016. One of the most important things to know about our team is that it was important for us to build our team with the skill sets that we need to be successful. I have a background in marketing, but I also have a background in information technology and have been working on the strategy of one of Bank of America's huge launches of mobile software that touches more than 200,000 employees worldwide. We also have advisors on the continent in both South Africa and in Nigeria, and one of our advisors is the former head of Microsoft Africa. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and I'll take any questions you have.
How do you build your business? Walk through that element.
So our business model is built on a subscription model. An entrepreneur will download the mobile application and they'll be able to utilize the application once again to connect to resources, to connect to local content and local events, connect to other entrepreneurs, and most importantly, connect to investors. And this is for the low monthly cost of $5.
How are you making content?
So what we do, we don't build any content. We aggregate, curate, and distribute content to entrepreneurs through the mobile application. Currently, we have partnerships with a number of organizations, USAID, University of South Africa, Microsoft, and a number of other organizations on the continent that serve entrepreneurs. And so our strategy is a B to B to C strategy.
Why charge entrepreneurs when, is it, when you probably could have, you have eyeballs, right, of people who are starting companies, millennials probably, people who are going to need to buy services in order to build their businesses.
Yes.
Why charge entrepreneurs? Do you think that's going to drive engagement, or?
That is an excellent question, and that is a very important question because no one is charging entrepreneurs, and that's a huge problem. Because the issue is everybody wants to have the big exit. So in order to have a big exit, you have to get investment. In order to get investment, you have to be prepared to get investment. In order to be prepared to get investment, you have to have somebody who's doing that work. And none of the models that are the low bono or the pro bono models are actually working and preparing entrepreneurs at a mass scale. So when we're able to monetize that, we're actually able to feed value back into the system so that we can continue churning entrepreneurs, helping them grow their businesses.
But if you're making money off eyeballs, why not let all the eyeballs onto the platform versus restricting it by those who pay?
There are a number of ways that we can monetize beyond the subscription model, but we think if we set the bar low enough for entrepreneurs to be able to access the content and we produce valuable content, they'll continue to pay for it and we'll still be able to monetize in those other ways.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And did Slide?
Hi, my name is Will, and Jacob and I have been working on Solution Loft. Solution Loft aims to take the plumbing out of programming.
So the problem as it exists today is that a lot of developers waste a lot of time and resources on programming jobs that are very similar to each other and could be automated to some extent. Our solution to that problem is to create a marketplace where each job that comes in from the client side is broken down into modularized blocks, which, once created for the first client, can be reused for any future client that has a similar request.
So let's look at a sample freelancing project I did a month ago for a Philly-based boutique firm. Essentially what they wanted was data from Yelp and a spreadsheet. So you can think of this job as broken down to 3 tasks or blocks, as we call it to make it simple. 1, pulling the data from the Yelp API, 2, parsing the values out of the JSON response, and 3, inserting all of that data into a spreadsheet. If we just look at task 1, or block 1, on Stack Overflow, you can see that multiple developers are all looking to complete the exact same task. With Solution Loft, only one developer abstracts out the code and comments it, and then everyone after them can reuse it. So in the case of Dr. Denham, which is the boutique firm in Philadelphia, they can save 30% of their costs just with the Yelp API block.
So we think this is an important problem for both the clients and the developers, and we want to help them by first entering or addressing the users that are currently using freelancer platforms, marketplaces such as freelancer.com. This segment represents around $3 billion of value today, or in 2014 I think that estimate was from, and is estimated to grow to around $30 billion by 2020.
So in the short term, we want to be very lean and test our hypotheses at the lowest marginal cost. And so to do that, we're going to hack the sales cycle and just go directly through the existing freelance marketplaces. We're going to find our clients on there, for instance, like Dr. Denham, and claim the projects, but they're going to break them down into blocks. We'll repost the blocks that we don't already have in our backend for developers that claim abstract, and then we'll compile the entire job together and send it off to the client. And in the future, they can reuse the blocks that we already have in our inventory.
So to give you an idea of the team that's working on this, you have myself and Will and Luke, unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. All of us have a technical background, and as you can see, fairly diverse backgrounds. We've come together to develop this solution to this very complex problem, and we've broken down our long-term vision into a set of milestones that we're confident that we can reach in an effective and timely manner in order to build the future of programming. Thank you.
How do you envision sort of the client reaction? Do you keep this sort of hidden? So I'm client A.
Yeah.
I pay you 50 grand for, and you're now reusing, you're using that app you're developing right
Yeah.
now. The next
So-
client B is benefiting from
Sure.
that check. How do you think of
Yeah,
that?
sure. So the MVP, we're just looking at like scripting things. So they fall in like 5 buckets, averagely like messing around with APIs, Excel, workflow automation. For those, like the customers don't care at all. There's no NDA signed across the plan. In the future, we want to bring all these transactions onto our platform and maybe even look at enterprise solutions. So like all the developers at a certain company working off an IDE, do they all share all this data? So when we get the bigger problem or longer term problems, then we'll have to look around like, are customers willing to pay 50K if someone's going to reuse it? We'll obviously bring the price down, but that's like an assumption we're comfortable testing later.
And I guess just to comment on transparency, all clients in the future will still pay a sum that is representative of the job that they're receiving. So it's not that you're subsidizing someone else, it's that the fact that we can offer to someone else lets everyone subsidize the charge for it. Anyone else?
So obviously people are using code. I mean, there are people that are using blocks and modules and all that kind of stuff. So is it just that the logistics of this is really how you're inventing the better mousetrap?
Sure.
It's just not integrated properly. I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah, sure. So right now, like I was talking to a freelancer today, they like just try to find the same jobs and reuse them over and over again. If there's a way for them to abstract their code and get a form of like balloon or recurring revenue every time it was reused, then that would motivate them to use a common protocol that we've designed. Right now it's just based on functions, like the inputs, the outputs, the descriptions, so we can have like a search space. And that will motivate them to sign up for a program like this. Right now you have like other options, like you have a black box solution like Zapier, but there's no like getting other developers involved in that. Same thing with if this and that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Then next we have.
Hi. So who here hates needles? Yeah, that's what I thought. So, hi, I'm Julia. And I'm AJ. And we are Beaverbacks, and we want to end the painful process of traditional needle vaccines.
So what are we replacing the needles with? A vaccine patch. Basically, there is no needles, no syringe, no paint.
Okay, so how does it work? Well, we incorporate liquid-coated vaccine droplets into a skin patch that can be applied directly to the skin itself.
So what makes Vivo vaccines different? Well, it has a definitely competitive advantage in the market when compared to other vaccine delivery methods. First off, it doesn't have any needles. It's easy to applicable, and it doesn't have any complications that are appearing with the sharp disposals. And there's no need for any providers. It's just basically a vaccine patch, so it's very easily applicable.
Great. So why are we the team to carry this out? As you can see from our backgrounds, we have the backgrounds to push this company forward. We also have a number of advisors in different areas of expertise here at Penn. Right now, if there is a vaccine created for the Zika virus, think of how much faster and more efficient it is to deliver a self-applicable patch to the population instead of relying on long lines at the clinics. So where do we stand right now? We recently competed in the final round of the Weiss competition and received very positive feedback from biotech judges. We also have an agreement with the Penn Center for Innovation to use this patented technology. And thirdly, we have also received funding from the Wharton Innovation Fund. However, in order to complete our trial process, we need the $1,500 to purchase the lipids and to encapsulate the vaccines and run through 3 trials for that.
So to wrap up, our vaccine patch is actually referring to a very important need in our society, and we're the team to provide this need.
So Viva Vax, because disease reduction should never be painful. Thank you.
How long do you anticipate the patch patch needs to be worn? Is it just you put it on and take it off, or is there some gestation?
Well, it takes some time because it will be basically there are some available technologies right now, and according to the experiments, it takes it depends on the method that you're using. It can be either UV, or you can also play with the pH values of the the skin that you're actually applying to. So it depends, but on average, it's about 2 minutes to transfer the material.
So there's a wide variety. Think of how long a birth control patch can be put on versus how fast to make it to the patch can be put on.
And also it depends on the vaccine type or the material that we're using as well. It's very.
You just put the doctor's office patch goes on, and then you have to wait there until it's and then take it off.
Yeah.
Do you think the type of vaccines are going to be relevant, or do you think it's going to have product?
So we think the vaccine market is the best one. The vaccine market is around 50 billion across the world and 24 billion in the U.S. And from the list of approved vaccines by the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, about half of them there is a potential for them to be applied intradermally. However, the issue is existing companies like GSK, Pfizer, what they do is, because vaccines are only 2 to 3% of their profits, it's not really prioritized in the way that they can go ahead and do more research on something like this with this technology. So we do think that vaccines are our target market. We do want to approach it from the point of view of we also have elderly people who have more pain when they get needles versus children, and then to have a social impact grant and partner with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for a social impact where we just give them out for lower costs to other countries.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay,
And now we're on to our final presentation. Let's talk about chemotherapy. We know about some of its adverse side effects like hair loss and liver damage. And that's because cancer drugs currently target both cancer cells and healthy cells. But recently, scientists have found ways to encapsulate these drugs so that they only target cancer cells. And this is incredibly valuable. For example, let's take a look at Johnson & Johnson. One of their chemotherapy drugs, doxorubicin, currently sells for $25. When they encapsulate it, they sell the same thing for $1,000. And it's not even patent protected. This is giving them over $500 million a year in revenue. Now, there's just one problem with this though, and this is a real pain point. It's actually incredibly hard to encapsulate drugs. So J&J, for example, they only had one facility that could have this capability, and this one facility had to shut down in 2011, leading them to lose over 82% of their revenue. That's over $400 million lost. And this is where our story begins. We've created an entire encapsulation facility on just one chip over here. And through this one chip, we've created something that normally takes 17 different machines on a huge facility and shrunk it down to a simple, cost-effective process. Now, instead of spending over $25 per vial of a drug, it only costs 50 cents. Instead of having to buy those machines, you can just have a cheap chip. Instead of taking 5 days just to make one batch of drug, we can do the same thing in just under 12 hours. We are fundamentally improving the production efficiency for pharmaceutical companies. And we're going to make sure that there's no more shortages where Amsterdam Fluid is. Thank you very much.
So where are you with it?
Right. So we're trying to get some fundings to try a minimum viable product. We have several designs we proposed based on several papers and technology that's invented here at Penn. And we're looking to come up with a prototype and try to pattern it by June, so this summer.
So the technology has already been developed by Penn We are finalists in Y Prize, and we're using that technology. And the main thing that we have to do is just control the flow rate, so it's consistent every time to get that encapsulation to the same accuracy that we want. Adjusting that might take a while, but we think ambitiously by March, because we want to do accelerator applications to get it ready for YCOM and Techstars and DreamIt and other places. Probably if not then we're sure we'll have it over the summer. It's really a mechanical issue we're going through right now. So we're looking forward to that.
Is there a particular type of cancer you want to start with?
Doxorubicin has been the one that's been proven to be viable just from the elements it has. We've already talked about it, and we've already approached some investors about it, and they said, the moment we show that this works, they'll be happy and really excited to potentially look into us even skipping seed and going straight to A for it. And we think that it's a very realistic one to do, and we're currently in the lab. We already have the space rented out. We ordered the parts this past week, and we're going to begin testing just to make sure. And we've already contacted the FDA about this as well. We have a contact person who's going to be shepherding us through this process, and they said because we're basically an equipment manufacturer and we're not like actually changing the drug itself, it should take about a year to get that approved because we're not fundamentally changing the drug itself.
To add to that, so Doxo is an FDA-approved drug to treat breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and age-related precocious sarcoma.
Who's the team from?
It's me. I'm currently a first-year MBA.
I'm Alex, I'm a Master in Biotechnology.
And our team lead is Enrique. He's a PhD in biochemistry. And we have a very ambitious freshman undergrad as well. Who's helping us out.
Are there any other drugs besides chemo drugs that can be encapsulated?
So we've looked at an estimated market of just 14 of the top encapsulated drugs. Now, the encapsulation really just started beginning around 10 years ago, so it's very nascent, but just those 14 or so drugs itself is a $7.2 billion market opportunity. And that's not even including drugs right now that are in a phase 3 clinical trials, that once we reach to them, we can latch on to the beginning of their manufacturing process. While current ones, it's already being manufactured, so that's more of a political process. So we have a couple of avenues that we're looking through. We're currently members of UPenn's accelerator program, iCorps, and we're exploring multiple routes right now and talking to business development teams in different areas.
Thank you so much.
And we are going to, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a few minutes to tally up the scores. We'll get the judges to deliberate on the top 3 winners. So just stick around for the next few minutes, and after that we'll announce the winners.
Who gets it?
Alright guys, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. Just before we announce the winners, I want to thank all of you for being here, judges and sponsors obviously. It was a great event. With that said, you guys voted on the Audience's Choice Awards, and the 2016 winner is Viva Vax.
Come on down, you back.
Perfect. And here's your award.
Thank you so
There's
much.
a lovely picture.
Can we take a picture?
Yay. Great, congratulations.
Next up, 3rd place, chosen by the judges and deliberations, is bioselection.
involved.
Congratulations.
And finally, the winner of the 2016 elevator pitch competition.
Amsterdam Fluidics.
Oh shit,
Congratulations.
We'd like to get a picture of all the judges and all of the winners also. And Steve, can you guys change your background?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead. Yeah, you need your word, guys. Oh, this is the one, like you said. There we go. Okay, great. Show your word in the back. Okay, great. All right. Just squeezing this a little bit. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, smile. 1, 2, 3. No, one more. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you, judges.